Welcome back to the Mini Cooper, guys. So it's been a little bit of a bit of time has gone by that I've actually had the chance to work on this car. Personally, I've started a new job. I've also just had so much stuff going on in the background, personal stuff for the channel. I can go on all day with excuses, but life happens basically. But we're back on it. We've got some panels, and in today's video I really want to try and tackle, or at least start, one of the Flitch panels. So the Flitch panel is a panel that runs basically where your door bolts into. So you have a door post, and then you have a Flitch panel that comes round and sort of sandwiches that in and closes that cavity off, so your door bolts through that. It also forms the lip for your A panel, so it's quite an important part of your car. Now when we took this one on, we didn't think we'd have any issues here with this. It wasn't until we got the wings off that we actually saw that there was so much sealant, so much paint covering a multitude of sins, and that's obviously now caused a bigger issue sort of further down the line. So we can't actually just now get the scuttle on, get the front end on and move forward and then sort the floors out and stuff. We can't actually do that yet. We do have to sort this out because this is behind everything. Can't put the closer panels back in here. We can't do anything until this is done. So that being said, we have got a shiny new panel. So this is a Magnum repair panel. If you followed the 89 build, you know I've used these before. These really aren't bad panels, to be fair. They're really good. We're not actually going to use all of this. We are going to sort of slice down it there. We're not going to even get involved with all that because you just don't need to. It's very solid, which is very weird. It's normally all around here that it's gone, but the MPI is actually really good for that. So it's basically missing it all here, and it's gone a little bit where the floor folds. So as you can see, there's a flange on the bottom of the panel there, and that's where your floor butts up to that, and it sort of closes it off. And if you remember in the 89, I've seam welded it all, stitch welded it all. So it'll probably end up being the same sort of flavour on this one as well. But this side, so looking at it here, is where your A panel folds round. So let's have a quick look at this car and we'll see where we're at. So this flange here is what your A panel sort of connects round. So what I'll do in a second is I will grab the new A panel and you can sort of see what I mean. But it's non-existent at the bottom, it's completely gone. And just to be sort of sure, so you guys can see, this is, you know, I could pull that away. So what we're going to do is all along here, you can see where I've sort of cleaned it back. is where it sort of has stopped being crusty and it's just become solid. So I'm going to come up about to here and cut all of that out. We're going to come up right up to there and take that out. See, the scuttle is just sort of sat in place, it's nowhere near, look, it's just sat on top of the old one. That was me just mucking around, mocking it up. But what we're going to do is we're going to put in the new Flitch panel all the way down to the bottom and then create the new fold at the bottom. That will sort this out. This is the cavity I'm talking about. It's so solid and clean in there. You can see that's all factory primer. So it's weird why this has happened. So what we're going to do is inside here is the post that I was talking about. So you've got what the panel's going to weld onto here to make sure that's right, and then you have the inner post. So we'll have to tidy this back, and we are going to have to make a little piece to go in there. Be mindful in an MPI you have a fuse box. So down in there is where all your fuses are kept. So we are going to remove this because you can see the holes right underneath it. I shouldn't need to go near that, but let's just, you know, stay on the right side of any trouble and just get that taken out. But yeah, we're getting there. It's starting to look a little bit nicer, and yeah, nothing's all sort of properly tidied back yet, but you see a seam weld on a car anyway from factory. So we'll come back to the finishing touches when we do the scuttle. So what we're going to do is get this removed, and then we're going to sort of mock up this new panel. But I'll grab an A panel now, and anyone that's not done this before, I'll show you how the A panel sort of goes. So what I was saying is there's a fold, so excuse the dusty panels, they've been sat in the car. There's a fold around there. So at the moment it's completely straight. When it's sat on there, which obviously we'll have a new end to that soon. So the A panel, obviously that's a big gap, we've got to trim that top bit back, will sit, and that flange will fold round. So this basically here creates where your A panel then comes onto the inside. You've seen in the Budget Club and I've got seam sealer down that, and then I folded it all the way around, all the way down. We're obviously going to have to do a lot of work here because everything's out and not right. We have to make sure things like this are solid. We've got doorstep repairs and stuff like that, but we'll get sort of stuck into that while we're in this area and repair anything that needs to be repaired as we work our way up. So without further ado, let's get the grinder out and let's start cutting away. So this is not maybe what everyone else would do. On the 89 build, we had no metal at all around here. So we have this tiny little hole here, which I will repair. But all under here, obviously you see me repair, it's all done now. So we're not going to disturb any of this. There's no point. They're definitely going to not come out happily. And everything else is completely solid. So we have got some sort of minor surface rust around these bolts. And someone has mentioned we're going to check out around here. But having had a proper look from the inside, because you can see a little bit more inside the bonnet, these actually don't look too bad at all. So we will whip them out and have a look at a later stage before the front end goes on. But right now, it's no concern to me at all. The rest of the wing's good. I've just got to still remove stuff like that. So yeah, quite happy with it. But this is just shocking. This is where the water and the residue is stuck. So let's get on with it. Lovely. So with all the crusty metal out of the way, you can sort of see what we're left with now. I've got a little bit more to take out of the bottom here, and obviously all of this I'm going to go through and check, and all of this will be treated with rust treatment as many times as it needs. This is absolutely rock solid. This is such a thick bit of steel as well. It's a very structural part of your car. It's absolutely solid. So for anyone who says I should be bracing it, there's absolutely no need to brace it here. There's so much strength still in the car. You've also got the added bracing point from MPI, because you've got like an extra cage that forms your fuse box holder, and then if you actually see there, that's your bottom dash rail. So I haven't touched any of this. So there's no need to brace your car here. If you feel like you need to, then do it. If you feel like you feel better on your car. But I have never, unless the car is more structurally rotten, which I did with the 89, no, you're fine here. So I know a lot of people ask in the comments, oh, I should have braced that, or, you know, I get the old comment here and there that where would you brace the car? Yeah, you could brace across the doors here, but in this instance the car's not that bad, so I haven't. The thinnest part is here. You can see that moves. That's just how flimsy the MPI like body panels are. The actual Magnum panel is actually thicker, which is a bit scary when you think about that. Moving up there, that's surface rust. All of this horrible paint is going to get taken off. We'll clean all of this. Once all this is off, back, and we'll paint it properly. I'm also going to use a bit of that new panel just to cut a little piece out to go in that little square there. So yeah, we're getting there. So all of this will get cavity painted. Anyone who watches this channel knows we love a bit of cavity paint. So before we go any further, I'm going to double check how the panel fits and see if I actually need to put any more metal back in here, because obviously you can see I've cut out the rot, but I still have a lot of a lip here to weld the new panel to. Because you remember, you plug weld here, or we can now spot weld here, which you can see where I pulled the spot welds out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 down this one, or maybe 5 of them there. So that was what was holding it onto that. And you can see I folded it away. So we'll get all this treated and ready to go. We're then going to just make sure we haven't got to cut any more of here out, and then make the cut on the new panel. But I'm pretty happy with it. What I probably will do, just to make the shape a bit easier, is I probably will just come up here a little bit more and just cut some of this out. But all of this is rock solid. Obviously this is all new metal that I've put in. So yeah, we're going to get on with it now. Hopefully get some progress. Also, I'm quite mindful I've got rubber grommet in there. I'll pop that out if I do any welding, but keep that if you can, because the new panels, unless you buy Heritage, don't come with that, and that's a good way to inject some wax into your car. So also the easiest way to hold the Flitch panel on is use some nuts and bolts through here. That's the best way to do it, and then some panel sort of bonding bolts and clamps and stuff like that to hold it together. But we'll get to that when we get onto it. We're quite far off that, so I'm going to clean all this back, see what we're left with, start treatment process, and yeah, we'll see where we're up to on that. But yeah, it's nice to get the rot out. It looks a lot better. Just a recap for the other side. This side isn't half as bad, but it's gone in weird, like it's gone a little hole here, and then it's actually taken all of the panel with it, and then it's completely rotted out the bottom, whereas the other one was completely channeled down here. So it's very weird. Again, all good round here. We'll cut out and we'll just come down. So we've got 2 new panels, so we might as well utilise that. Yeah, onwards and upwards. Right, so off camera, I've just trimmed the panel back. Like I say, I've got rid of the sort of the air vent side that we just didn't need, and just roughly sitting it in place. Like I say, the best way to get this is to line it up with the holes. So obviously I've left too much here, so I can trim it back. But that, once that's pushed in, is pretty much where it's going to live. So you can see it's just going to replace all the rot that was here. And I just have to make a tiny little piece because it's as far as the panel came up. So yeah, it's not too shabby. One thing I've always noticed, and it's worth bearing in mind if you're doing Magnum panels, is this is massive, this end here. There's no need for this. Well, it curves down anyway, so you can fold the A panel, but there's no need for it to be this big. And you can see I've already chopped a chunk of it off the bottom. It's just stupid, I don't know why it's like that. But you just trim it back. But really, that's not too bad at all. And you can sort of see now it's replacing all the rot. So I'm just sort of having a little mull around and just working out if I might joggle this edge into the car. I'm not sure yet. Normally I just do a seam weld all the way up it, and sort of just take my time doing sort of stitches, and it disperses the heat a little bit better. The only thing I'm thinking about by doing the joggling is, like I say, this new panel is actually thicker than what's on the car, and by joggling it I make it a bit stronger because I can overlap it, just sort of half an inch maybe. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm not too bothered by having like a seam up the car, because obviously the car gets carpet back in it and things like that. So I'm not too bothered by that. I'm just working out, because I'm working on an angle anyway, if it's just going to be more of a pain to try and joggle that. So, and obviously we're not going to fit in the panel because I want to trim all this back, I want to clean all this back, leave this overnight, etch prime it all, paint it all. I'm just going to paint it black inside so it's all got a coat of proper paint, and then obviously we'll start getting the welding done. So we're a long way off yet. These panels take a while to fit. You have to get it right because everything else from your door follows on from that. So yeah, I'm going to continue to clean all this back and see where we get up to. It'd be nice to sort of finish this episode today with all of this in like a rush treatment overnight, then I can come back to it and put some paint on it, and then we can sort of start going, right, let's get this fitted. But it'd be nice to get this where it needs to be, do all this, and then I can just come out and weld it. So that is sort of where we're going with it at the moment. As you can see as well, I've left flange on the bottom for the floor. I've actually had a proper look, and this section of the floor at the front anyway needs replacing. So what I'm probably going to do is fit this and do nothing with the flange at the bottom until I do the floor repair. So sort of a half finished job, but you can't finish it until you do that bit. So yeah, onwards, upwards. Right guys, that's all we've got time for today. We're at the point now where the main rot is cut out. Just gone over it with some Genelite. This is the first sort of go with it, like pass with it, I'll then see how it's done, repeat, keep sanding it back and seeing what we've got. No new panels going to go on here until I'm 110% sure that the rust is at bay. Then we will obviously prime it with some sort of zinc primer, just because you want to keep that at bay as much as possible. Then you put your top coat on. So gonna let that do its thing. It does sort of say it's ready to sort of go. Wait 15 minutes and you're ready to go again. But for me, I want to leave it a good few hours and I'll repeat it and then I'll prime it and then we'll go from there. I won't do any priming until I've made sure that I'm happy with how much metal I'm taking out. At the moment, I'm tempted to take sort of another ½ an inch out, maybe just down that flank there, just to make sure that I've got a nice clean surface. But what's left now is good and solid, so I'm happy with that. You've seen I've gone over it here. There's a bit of surface rust in this corner. I've gone quite mad with it in a way that I've hit it quite hard to see how bad it was, and it's not gone through, it's not rusty in that way, so it's just a bit of surface rust in this corner, which is obviously a big water trap, so that's why that's happened. But yeah, that's all we've got time for. Genelite instead of Cure Rust, bit of a change I guess. Do just the same sort of job, although I do find Genelite works a lot faster and gives you sort of a more accurate result, as Cure Rust can just go obviously all one colour, but then you're sanding it back and you're like, alright, orange still underneath. This doesn't. This is actually really good. It makes the metal go black, and you normally have got it first or second attempt with it. So just a tip for you guys. I always swap and change products because I like to try different things anyway. So that's all we've got time for, unfortunately. In the next episode we will get the panel ready to rock and roll, and we'll get the panel in. There's no reason to sort of hang about. You just get stuck in and get it on. Then we can flip round to the other side. If you guys are happy with that, I'm going to film that as well. We'll get that sort of ready, because that's actually different how that's rotted, so I'd like to sort of bring that to you guys as well. But we'll crack on, and basically we'll prepare these inner wings. That's where we're going now. In the next sort of 3 to 4 episodes we need to get these inner wings ready, so we can even think about having a scuttle or a front end put on it. So we need to sort out obviously this little square here, which I will cut out. Probably do this off camera, I'll just make a little repair. But yeah, so that's all we've got time for. Like I mentioned, I do get quite a few comments that I do a lot of sort of chatting about what I'm doing, not as much showing. So I've tried to sort of show you guys a little bit more what I'm doing. I've spoken a bit in this episode because I find it quite important. If you've never done this before, and the whole point of my videos are to try and help people, I'm doing it the way I would. Don't follow me if you don't want to. If you know a better way, just have at it and go your way. But I wanted to sort of reiterate how these panels go together here, and obviously want to put them together, I'll show you even more. But it's quite important in this area. If you get this wrong, you're going to get the rest of it wrong, and it's going to be very hard to get your front straight. So anyone out there that's done this will sort of understand that. So we're nearly there. Anyway, that's the main point. So if you haven't already checked out our website, we are working on it. I've actually spoken with a designer, and we're sort of moving in quite a nice direction. I'm quite excited about that. So there is some more stickers coming, and we're working on some other merchandise as well. So go check out our website, the link in the description is below. Haven't checked out Frost, our sponsor, go and check out them. Anything you need, sort of word them up. We are sort of trying to work out if we can maybe get a discount code for you guys, because that would be awesome, because I know a lot of you following along are doing your own projects, and if we can give back in some way, that's just perfect, isn't it? So keep an eye out for that, keep following along. If not, give us a thumbs up, comment below what you think, and if you haven't, please give us a subscribe. There's loads of exciting things coming up in the future, and yeah, couldn't do this without your support, guys. So catch you in the next one. Stay safe.